Welcome to Behind the Beer, where we go behind the scenes to discover the people and roles of producing the product we all love, craft beer. In this episode, I'm with Michael Biondi of Frothy Beard.
Cheers.
Owner, operator, GM, all that. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Michael, and how you got into craft beer.
Sure. We've been around for 10 years now in South Carolina, and we started out as home brewers in 2008. My business partners, Steve and Joey, who started Frothy Beard, and we moved to Charleston shortly thereafter and just kept home brewing and joined the homebrew clubs and, went to all the different breweries that existed at the time and really tried to learn a lot. We learned from Holy City and Coast and picked their brains as much as we possibly could. Just kept honing our craft little by little and trying to create what we called Charleston's first nano brewery. Back then it was easier to open up a nano brewery than I'd say it is now. When we were the 5th in Charleston and the 10th in the state to open up in 2013.
2013.
Yeah. And now there's 40 plus in Charleston and 140 roughly in the state, active or about to be active. So, I mean, it's been a wild ride in the last 10 years about how many breweries have opened.
Oh yeah.
But,
I believe that's everywhere.
Yeah, but that's a little bit how we started. Mostly just enjoying beer. We really couldn't find the flavors that we were looking for, so we thought it'd be a good way to, just to make them. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we're in the new location, which is Charlotte. What made you choose Charlotte to open and this is only your second location?
This will be our third
location. Yeah. Okay.
So we have 2 in the Charleston region. So we have Charleston proper, which is our main hub. And then we have Somerville, which is kind of a satellite brewery and tap room. And then Charlotte, it was kind of it kind of fell in our laps. Like my goal is to have 5 locations at some point.
Okay.
And the landlord here sent out a flyer to, I think, all the breweries in North Carolina and South Carolina looking for a tenant because there was a brewery in here previously and he thought it'd still be a good spot for a brewery. And I looked it over and I was like, man, this is a really good opportunity. I mean, the area around here is just bustling and booming and growth is crazy. And I think it's the number 1 city in the southeast for growth, and where I could see the Panther Stadium right from here. So,
well, I've heard 160 a day.
Oof, yeah,
there's a lot of people moving to Charlotte.
Not including all the ones getting born, I guess.
Yes.
So the opportunity arose, and it was just too good to pass up. And we crunched some numbers and figured, let's go for it.
So, what do people most misunderstand about you?
Me personally?
Yeah. In craft beer.
Yeah. I guess most of my employees think I'm a lot meaner than I am, but once they get to talking to me, they just feel a little more comfortable, I guess. But,
right.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I've loved craft beer for a long time. I was a entomologist in a previous life. I worked in DC for 2 years at the Smithsonian. I love nature and bugs and all kinds of things that have to do with water quality and stream management and I mean, just things that people probably don't know a whole much about me. Right. The funny thing is that once I have a biology and science background, but instead of going into the brewing side of things, I take care of the business side of things mostly. And,
well, water quality is important in craft beer for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But
so what would you consider is your biggest failure, and how do you learn from that experience?
I mean, big failures, like catastrophic failures, I don't think we've had any yet. We've had setbacks for sure. Obviously COVID was a tough time for everyone.
Absolutely.
Not like figuring out that these things can happen and just thinking that, we'll just keep rolling and not that there's a contingency plan for world pandemics.
Right.
Usually in everybody's playbook, but stuff like that.
Not in our century.
Yeah, definitely. But I think during that time, I think the biggest thing that I would consider a failure is just like maintaining the core crew that we had. We lost a lot of good people just because of the way that everything was going down, and so our structure in our industry changed a lot. The way that we do things, and it's been a lot of, I guess, more reaction than planning and acting since then,
right?
And trying to just like ride the small waves here and there, depending on what they are. So
okay.
So I mean, that I would consider a failure, having to react more than be ahead of the curve.
Have to pivot.
Yeah,
big time. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
In the brewery space, I would like a lasting community legacy for what we build. Just that, like, that we're one of those spots that the community, if we ever do close our doors, would like to be. Well, we really missed that place. That was one of the better places that we ever like had in our neighborhood, and try to maintain that and be connected to the neighborhood and make the lives of our employees better and make the lives of the people around us better. So
excellent. So what's the best compliment you've ever received?
Besides my dashing good looks. In the beer world, my favorite compliment that we get often is if one person or a couple comes in and has a flight or has a few flights. Like, I think the biggest compliment that we ever get is like, hey, we got 3 flights and we liked every single one of these beers, and there wasn't one on this flight that we thought was not quality. And I think that's what we strive for a lot. It's just like, if someone can have 10 to 12 of our beers and like every single one of them and not really know which one to go for a pint because they liked a bunch of them, then I think that's really a great compliment. Instead of like, if you go get a flight and it's like, oh, I liked one of those,
So what's an insult that you've received that you're especially proud of?
It probably was just opening night at our West Ashley location, and this one lady wanted to, we got like new tap handles, and we only had so many to like cover the amount of taps that we had. And I think I had like 2 left over that I had in like a display case and everything. And, I guess our menu said that tap handles were for sale. And like, I was like, well, I'm not going to sell those because like we need those. And she was just arguing with me left and right. And I guess she just called me a at some point, and I guess that was like opening night, and I was like, fine, just sell her the tap handle. Like, it's not worth it anymore. So
I feel that strongly about it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's it. I'm pretty strong headed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome. So what has been your favorite job you've held?
I mean, I love my job that I have. It's rewarding in a lot of ways. It's hard work every single day. It's just being an owner and operator and GM of a multi-location brewery is a lot different than some of the things I've done. I've been a waiter. I've been like I said, entomologist, a painter. I've been a camp counselor. I've been all kinds of things. But this one definitely pushes you on a daily basis to like learn more, do more, figure out just the ins and outs of everything. And it doesn't matter if you've done it for 1 year or 10 years, there's always something new to learn and work on. So
excellent. So what's been your least favorite
job? I worked at Ruby Tuesdays for a little while. And I worked like weekend lunches. So I got the Sunday brunch crowd. So that was fun. Yeah, I'd say that was my least favorite. Sorry, Ruby Tuesdays.
Awesome. So if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would it be?
That you don't need to be a doctor, lawyer, or Indian chief anymore. I think that a lot of school curriculum and direction is always pushing people to go to college and, become those positions where you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're an engineer, those really high up positions. Mm-hmm. But the world doesn't just run on doctors and lawyers. Like, we need a lot of other people, and there are a lot of other great avenues to learn and to make good money. And trade is really booming right now. So, I went to 4 years of undergrad for pre-med, 4 years of grad school for entomology, and I own a brewery. So, it's not, I don't feel like I wasted the experience. I feel like I had a good time there, but I think I didn't know that there were so many other opportunities out there that weren't pipe dreams, like, marine biologist. That's what I wanted to do as a kid. Right. Everyone wants to be a marine biologist, but yeah, I just think there's so much out there that you can learn and do. Like, if I would go back to school right now, I'd go into HVAC or even boiler mechanics. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone needs a good boiler mechanic these days.
Yes. So. Yeah. I've told my kids, I'm like, at one point I wanted all my kids to go to college, but now I was like, unless you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer or something that requires that degree, you really don't need it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, at least start out at a tech school and then transfer in, at least so you get the experience of like living away and on your own and trying to do that. But yeah.
So tell me about the 3 most influential people in your life.
My father was very influential in certain ways, good and bad. He was my first glimpse into entrepreneurship. He opened up a comic book store back in 1988 in Brooklyn, New York, when we lived there.
Nice.
So I learned a little bit about, owning your own business and being a latchkey kid and, all that fun stuff. I'd say my grandfather would be my second most influential person. He taught me all about nature and hiking and fishing, and got me to love the outdoors, and especially being a Brooklyn kid. And he lived in Poughkeepsie, New York, and Pennsylvania. Then they moved to South Carolina. And so we would always visit for weeks at a time, and he would take us on new outdoor adventures and stuff like that. And then I guess the third would be, I guess mostly I wouldn't say a person, but I would say I think grad school and the people there influenced me a lot. Got to meet a lot of different people that come from different walks and different backgrounds, and learn about just a lot of different aspects of humanity, and have conversations late into the night over beers, just about everything. We were all bug people, but that doesn't mean that's all we talked about. Religion, politics, science, the universe, all kinds of stuff. So getting
philosophy.
Getting involved in that chapter of my life really opened up a lot of who I am and what I think about things. So
nice. Yeah. So what's one thing in your business venture here at Frothy Beard that you didn't expect?
So we started out, me and 2 friends, opening up the original Frothy Beard, which was in a tiny 2,000 square foot warehouse. And I think that the things that I didn't expect was where me and my 2 friends were so close before we opened up the business. And then we shared a lot of the same interests and philosophies on things. But you never really know someone until you actually open up a business with someone. Mm-hmm. And I think in good ways and bad ways, it definitely opens up the relationship to different ways of discussing things, and whether you agree or disagree. And I think that now one of them just recently left the company, and he's exploring Europe right now, and I hope he's having a great time. I haven't really spoken to him since he left, but I think that even as you grow, like 10 years is a long time, and we've all changed a lot. And so like what you expected at the beginning is like, hey, we're going to have this company with my buddies and we're all on the same page. We want to make beer. We want to have a good time. And then as you grow older, your priorities change. Like I have a family and 2 kids now. And so my priorities changed and, you know, and their priorities changed, and you just see that divergence. So I didn't really expect that going into it, but that's what's happened. And here we are.
Yep.
So
you learn a lot about people in a partnership.
Yep. Yep. Marriage, to work, you know, the whole 9 yards.
So what's a common myth about your job?
Common myth is that it's all fun and games and everybody's drinking and having a great time at all times. It's so much fun. I would love to be a brewer. It is hard work, whether you're on the brew deck or you are on a ladder painting or you are underneath a toilet or you are just bogged down with bookkeeping or, you know, it's not easy across the board. And I think a lot of people see the glamour in it, which is like people come to your place and they have a good time and they have a beer. And that's what we want. We want everyone to come have a great time, but they don't realize how much work actually goes into behind the scenes of making that happen. And that's, I think that's the biggest myth is that like, oh, I want to live that life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think everyone that I've ever interviewed with that question answers the same way.
Yeah.
What's the biggest challenge that you're facing in your business right now, and how are you tackling it?
I think that the biggest challenge right now has been for a lot of companies is staffing issues. We all know that prices have gone up on everything, but think a lot of the food and beverage employees that made it through COVID, a lot of them have left the industry, and some of those veterans were just like really great food and beverage employees. And they're like, you know what, I've done this for a long time. I'm ready to do something else. And so you have a new crop of people coming in, and some of them are great and some of them are not so great. And, you know, you got to weed through them. I think a lot of them look at food and beverage as a quick way to make a buck until they do something else. And so you don't get a whole lot of longevity out of the people that you're hiring. And I think that's a shame. And you kind of know, they're like, I try to make them fill out a questionnaire at the beginning of their employee, like, hey, what's your 1-year goal with Frothy? What's your 5-year goal in life? You know, and a lot of them are like, well, I'm looking for a job to do this, this, and this. And I know that like, hey, this person's probably a short timer.
Right.
But finding those lifer F&Bers that just really understand the industry, I think is the biggest challenge that we face right now.
So you're F&Bers?
Yep.
That's awesome. I like that. So what's the most important lesson that you've learned over your career?
Tomorrow's going to be another day. And at some point you just got to put the pencil down and just go home and turn off your phone a little bit and just kind of like watch some Game of Thrones and just freaking enjoy a beer.
There you go.
So, I mean, don't stay bogged down in it all the time. You got to put it down.
Yep.
So
got to have your downtime.
Yep.
In your opinion, what is the most important personality trait or strength someone would need to work in this job and your job?
Flexibility for sure. I mean, like my days, I'll plan them in the morning. Hey, I got to do this, 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 and this. And then 6 other things will pop up that are emergencies that need to be taken care of. And you have to handle them. And so not being rigid and being like married to what you have on the schedule that day and just being okay with that is kind of one of I'd say the most important things. So
awesome. So what's one piece of advice that you would give to someone starting out in your career?
I would definitely learn a lot. I mean, like sit down, study, even, you know, set up a couple meetings with some of your local brewery owners or brewers, if that's what you want to do. Stage a little bit, you know, volunteer, or see if they have just like even like a part-time small pay position that you can just like learn a lot more, because the value's in what you learn. If a lot of people go into this with a lot of misconceptions like we talked about earlier, and thinking that it's just like, oh, I'll just make recipes and brew beer and things will be fun, and once you really find out what it's all about, it's a lot different. And having realistic expectations about what you're going to do. If you're going to start in the back of the house, in the brew house, you're going to learn cleaning. You're going to learn a lot of cleaning, and you're only going to learn cleaning for probably the better part of 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're little blocks that build, and like, you're going to learn to clean this, then you're going to learn to clean something bigger, then something bigger than that. And then once you've done that and you've mastered that, then we're going to trust you to do this other little job and build on that. Because I mean, like, you're not going to come in day one and brew our flagship. Like, that's just, you might watch us brew the flagship, but you're not going to touch any of the grain or anything, or, you screw up a batch and it's thousands of dollars down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So who has been your most important professional mentor?
Honestly, I'd have to say Chris Brown at Holy City. I think he and I have had a relatively open relationship where I could come to him with any questions, and they were around the Charleston area 2 years before we were, and they have a much bigger facility. And so, as we've been like stepping up in our brew house or in our front of the house games, like, sometimes I'll have questions, and he's a good resource to go to and just to sound things off. He and I served on the South Carolina Brewers Guild board together for a few years and did a lot of good work together, and just got to be to know kind of like the temperature of each other's business and like where we were, what our goals were. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think as I got into craft beer many years ago, I do remember one of the first beers I had in Fort Mill, I think it was what is it, the Puff Mud Porter?
Yeah, Pluff Mud Porter.
Pluff Mud Porter, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, I think they won gold for that in GABF one year. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is one of the best porters I think I've ever had.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to try ours.
What's one lesson your job has taught you that you think everyone should learn at some point in their life?
Lately, that money's green. It's not red or blue. So, you might have a lot of personal convictions about religion, politics, and everything like that. But the people that walk through your door, they might not agree with you. And, that's just one thing that, like, as long as, you and they are not getting into a huge argument, but you can discuss things civilly, even though you shouldn't discuss religion or politics at the bar. Take the time to appreciate other people's opinions without getting into an argument with them and isolating yourself as a person or a business owner with your community.
Yep, absolutely. So. I agree wholeheartedly. What is one thing about your job that almost no one agrees with you about?
Nick, you want to answer this one? I like to do a lot of things myself. And I'll rope other people into doing it too. Whether it's during Halloween time, we built like our own haunted house kind of thing in our brew house, and we built a maze for people to go through, and and I like to do it by hand, and whether or not I know what I'm doing or not is I'll learn it and I'll figure it out. But sometimes I drag people along the way, or it takes me till 5 a.m. to finish it. And, yeah. So I think some people would disagree with my philosophy on I can do it. And they're like, well, if you want to do something like this, why don't we try to like hire someone out to do it or something like that?
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So what's your favorite productivity hack for entrepreneurs?
I don't know. Someone else give me one because I need one badly. I guess as long as you got a hands-free set, you can make a lot of calls while you're driving, and get a lot of phone business in.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Yeah.
Or listen to podcasts.
Yeah, I do listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm not making calls.
All right. At what time of day do you get your best work done?
Honestly, my best work, uninterrupted work, is usually if I come back to the brew house between like 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. and I'm uninterrupted and I can just sit there and focus and not have to worry about a bunch of other things like happening during the day or 1,000 emails to answer. And just like, if I got to crunch out some QuickBooks or crunch some numbers or do this or that, that's kind of like my most productive time.
Nice.
So,
what underrated tool or tools are indispensable for your job?
I mean, I don't go anywhere without my computer, for sure. My phone. It's the 21st century, the digital age. I almost never go anywhere without my electric drill set. Yeah, I guess those things are indispensable. Know how to fix anything that needs a screw or a bolt, and have your computer with you.
Yeah.
So
awesome. If you could start a business tomorrow, what would that business be?
I was toying with the idea of doing seasonal holiday lighting rental last year, where we
couldn't find what you needed.
Oh no, I can. I just found that other people are already doing it, but I was like, you could go. Like you say, I want you to come string up all these lights on my house, leave them there for a month, and then you come unstring them, and we'll pay you to do that and rent it. And so we don't have to store it or do anything like that.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, I think this is a great idea. And then I saw that someone else was doing it. I was like, well, son of a bitch. So,
all right. What occupation other than your own would you like to try?
I mean, I would like to learn how to do HVAC or electricity, or like I said, boiler maintenance. I'd like to go to school for that still. Other than that, something fun. I don't know. Anything where I don't have to take work home and think about it would be nice. I don't want to be in finance or numbers or sector. Just, I think building, carpentry or something to that effect would be really cool. I do a little bit of woodworking, but I don't have the skills to do some beautiful things. I just do some mediocre household things. So
awesome. All right. What's the 3 best beers that you've had this year so far?
Let's see. This year, it's a tough one. That's a tough question. I had a lovely barrel-aged Imperial Stout at Monday Night Brewing a couple weeks ago. It was just really good. Trying to think of the name, though. Something in the Dark, I think it was. I just can't recall. So many beers, so little time. We released a new watermelon beer this year after not releasing one after about 3 years, and so that was fun to have again. And then
is that a sour or is it a wheat?
It's a watermelon sour, but it's not as sour. It's a little sweeter. It didn't come out as sour, but it's just nice, refreshing summer beer that we have.
Nice.
And then I honestly, the NA from Untitled Art, I got 3 of those at our South Carolina location. They're hazy IPA, they're Pilsner, Italian Pilsner, and they're dragon fruit sour. And all 3 of those are just delicious and non-alcoholic. And I was just shocked by how good they were and how far non-alcoholic beers have come into creating just like amazing flavors.
Now he's up here.
Yep. So,
all right. Let's see. One other question I want to add. Do y'all plan on brewing here in Charlotte?
We do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
We have the 7-barrel system down there. I hope it just doesn't sit there idle.
Right.
But yes, we do plan on brewing here. I know we got to get a new glycol system pump and a reservoir and chiller before we could start. So it might be a month or two out before, because they're about 6 to 8 weeks on processing orders to getting a new one. So, but once we do, we should be producing some fun new beers for this area. I think because of the size of this, we could just have fun with this system, and it's not going to be a workhorse for distribution.
Right.
So
awesome. And when do you plan to open this Charlotte location?
Today is August 4th. Our original plan was late July, early August. We're hoping to be around mid-August, maybe the week of the 14th through the 16th, if possible. We have most all of our permits and licenses applied for. We're just waiting for them to come in hand, and then we can, once they're here, we can get the beer up here and then start slinging it.
Nice.
Kitchen will open probably about a month and a half to 2 months after that. But we are in the process of building a kitchen downstairs. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's very important to get those correct licenses and permits before you bring your beer in.
Yes. Yes.
Another new brewery in town learned that the hard way.
Yeah. That's called bootlegging.
Yeah. Absolutely. So are there any questions that you wish I had asked that I didn't?
No, I was shocked by the questions. It wasn't the normal. So what are your flagships? Tell us about them. No, I mean, if you were going to ask anything, like what's our plan for Charlotte, maybe, which is, we've got this newer tap room open, which we will eventually serve food, and we are excited to bring our beer to this area, just to bring a lot of like fun events. Our whole like just mottos kind of just like have fun, frothize it, we call it.
Yeah.
Just do fun, have fun events, have fun ways to drink beer, and we're not pretentious. We're not about beer. It's just we make a whole lot of beer for everyone, and so we should have something that you like. So then we're willing to find it. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Where can people find you online?
www.frothybeard.com or Facebook or Instagram. We are not on TikTok yet. Officially. Yeah. We don't tweet either, or X or whatever it's called now.
Right.
Untapped. You can find us and check into our beers as you have them. The usual beer spots.
Cool.
So,
anything else that you would like to speak on?
We're just really excited to join this community, and if there are any other breweries out there listening in the south end of Charlotte, we'd love to get to know you and have a beer with you, and throw ideas back and forth about how we could have some fun events together. And so if you guys are around, hit us up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. This was Michael Biondi with Frothy Beard Brewing from the new Charlotte location to be opening soon.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.